जुड़ गई है मन की तार तुमसे, शक्तियाँ मिल रही अपार तुमसे। भाग्य के द्वारे खुले हमको हमारे मिले, भाग्य के द्वारे खुले हमको हमारे मिले। आए जीवन में ये बहार तुमसे ओ बाबा, जुड़ गई है मन की तार तुमसे, शक्तियाँ मिल रही अपार तुमसे। माता पिता सद्गुरु सखा तुम ही तो एक हमारे हो, शिक्षक तुम ही रक्षक तुम ही दिल के तुम ही सहारे हो। मिला सारे रिश्तों का प्यार तुमसे ओ बाबा, जुड़ गई है मन की तार तुमसे, शक्तियाँ मिल रही अपार तुमसे। दुनिया से दूर तारों के गाँव तुम मुझे ले आए हो, कांटों से दूर फूलों की छाँव में मुझे बिठाए हो, किरणों की बाहों का तुमसे ओ बाबा, जुड़ गई है मन की तार तुमसे, शक्तियाँ मिल रही अपार तुमसे। भाग्य के द्वारे खुले हमको हमारे मिले, आए जीवन में बहार तुमसे ओ बाबा, जुड़ गई है मन की तार तुमसे, शक्तियाँ मिल रही अपार तुमसे, जुड़ गई है मन की तार तुमसे।
Oh, Shanti, a very good evening to our brothers and sisters. It's my pleasure to extend a very warm and cheerful welcome to all of you for today's training program of Part 1, which is on physical and emotional wellness. Before we start our program, I have three housekeeping notes to make. Firstly, for those who would like to listen this program in Tamil, kindly choose Tamil language in the interpretation feature down below. சகோதர சகோதரிகளே, யாரெல்லாம் இந்த நிகழ்வை தமிழில் கேட்க விரும்புகிறீர்களோ நீங்கள் கீழே உள்ள மொழிபெயர்ப்பு பகுதியில் தமிழ் மொழி தெரிவு செய்து கொள்ளுங்கள். Secondly, this is a very humble request. I would like to seek your kind cooperation to find a quiet sitting place for yourself where you feel comfortable and relaxed. This is mainly to avoid any distractions and to stay focused throughout this training. And finally, If you have any questions regarding today's topic, please feel free to type your questions in the chat box below. We will try to answer your questions as much as possible. Thank you once again for your kind cooperation and attention. And also, very importantly, I would like to thank each and every one of you for sparing your precious Sunday evening to attend today's training program. It's a huge amount of commitment and dedication from your side. A very big salute and a big thank you to all of you. And today's training is very much needed and much anticipated program for a very long time among our Brahmin family. And talking about our Brahmin family, we have quite a number of few new brothers and sisters who have joined us as well for the first time. How lucky and fortunate are the first timers? No doubt, our first timers are the perfect example of Last of Us surfers. And we truly hope all of you will take benefit of this wonderful opportunity that Baba has given us, since we have lined up today's training to be very fruitful and engaging to all of us, especially during this pandemic. The main purpose of this training is to learn on how to maintain the balance between our body, emotions, mind, and spirituality. So there's going to be a part one and a part two. In this part one for today, we are going to focus on physical, body, and emotional wellness. Brother Muru will be conducting these two sessions. And also today, we have a very special segment on COVID-19 preparations as well by Brother Jothi. Can you all hear me? Is my voice is too low? Okay. So without any further delay, let me briefly introduce about Brother Muru. He's a transformational life coach, a motivational speaker. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope you all can hear me. Okay. Let me introduce about Brother Muru. He's a transformational life coach, a motivational speaker, and a spiritual student for the last 20 years. His driving principles have been to achieve and operate from highest potential and to enable others to achieve the same. Let us all welcome Brother Muru to start our first session on physical wellness. Om Shanti, Brother Muru.
Thank you, Sister Ashini. Om Shanti and good evening to all of you. Let me share my screen first. Okay, so the topic of the day is physical and emotional well-being. This topic covers two sessions. Part one is physical and emotional, and part two is mental and spiritual, which we'll cover in the next month. Okay. Sorry, 1 second. Okay, so let's start with the definition of health and well-being. Health is a state of being, whereas wellness is a state of living a healthy life, right? And the purpose of wellness is it aims to enhance our well-being, right? And it affects us in all dimensions. So I would say well-being is both being healthy and having wellness. So you are healthy as of now, and you are also living a healthy lifestyle. Both are important. So in part one, physical well-being, I will cover about these seven things. One is about food. Second is water. Third is about breathing / air. Fourth is about maintaining a good digestive system. Fifth is about pranic energy. And sixth is about exercise, movement. And seven is about having a sound sleep and its impact on health. Okay, this topic is very big and there are a lot of materials. It will take a lot of time to cover all of the 7. So my intention today is to give you an overview of these 7 things so that you have an awareness of what affects our physical well-being, right? Okay. So on the topic of food, I want to cover these 5 things. Types of food, the classification of food. According to Ayurveda, it classifies food according to the 6 states. According to the Western system, there are 2 classifications. One is based on these carbohydrates, proteins, fats, and all that stuff. And the third one is also the alkaline and acidic type of foods. So these 3 food types we will go through and see how it impacts our lives. And the fourth one is how much energy intake we require for functioning in a healthy manner. And also some brief idea about what are the various body types as defined by Ayurveda. Okay. So first one, food with 6 states as per Ayurveda. So the 6 states are sweet, sour, salty, bitter, pungent, and astringent. In Tamil, we have the translation Idipu, Pulipu, Uvarpu, that is Uppu, Kasappu, Karpu, which is Karam, and astringent is Tuvarpu. Okay, the function of each one is also mentioned here. Sweet is required for muscle development. Sour food is required for providing fat. Salty food is required for saliva secretion because saliva plays a very big role in our digestive system. Bitter food is required for improving nervous strength. Pungent food is required for bone development. And astringent food, sorry, I can't see this. Astringent food is required for blood secretion. Okay, and we also have a list of food sources that provide these different types of tastes. But now the question is, Ayurveda says we need all the 6 types of tastes for a healthy physical body, right? But if you look at our food consumption style, we mostly consume food that are sweet, sour, salty, and spicy, right? And we don't consume much of bitter and astringent type of foods because most of the time we don't like that taste. That's one thing. And also, we are also ignorant of the impact of these tastes, right? So the 2 tastes cover very important functions. One is improving nervous strength. Another one is to improve blood secretion. So if these 2 functions are affected, you can see that obviously our health will be affected. Not only our physical health, when we have weak nervous strength, it also impacts us emotionally. And, we get disturbed very easily for any types of problems. So it is important that we add bitter and astringent foods in our daily consumption. As I mentioned earlier, there are some list of food sources that provide the different tastes that has been highlighted. So you need to do an analysis and see whether your consumption includes all the 6 tastes. Otherwise, make necessary adjustments so that your health improves. Okay. We look at the second type now, food, carbohydrates, protein, fats, and all that stuff. The carbohydrate, protein, and fats are called macronutrients, and vitamins and minerals are called micronutrients. So we need a balance of all these foods to be able to have a good physical well-being. So here there are some details. I don't want to go through all of them because it will be too much. But the main thing I want to highlight is carbohydrates provide energy for our body. Right? It provides instant energy for our body. So we need to take carbohydrate. Second is protein. Protein is required for growth, health, and body maintenance. So we need a certain percentage of protein. Fats are required again because it supports many of our body functions, including vitamin and mineral absorption, blood clotting, building cells, and muscle movements. So fats are also required in our food. And the micronutrients, vitamins and minerals are also required. Vitamins, we know we have, there are 13 essential vitamins. We know A, B, C, D type of vitamins. So the vitamins lower the risk of lung and prostate cancer, and they are powerful antioxidants. Okay, so vitamin C also boosts the immune system and help the body heal. And minerals, we talk about minerals, we are talking about calcium, iron, and zinc. They are also essential for many body functions, including building strong bones and teeth, regulating your metabolism, and staying properly hydrated. So we need a balance of all of these foods. So what is the right balance? Okay, there is one more item, which is fiber. So fiber is also a type of carbohydrate. The main role of fiber is to keep our digestive system healthy. So we need fiber also as part of our food. So this is the ratio of the macronutrients that we require for a balanced food consumption. Carbohydrates in the range of 45 to 60% of our energy requirement should be fed by carbohydrates. And 10 to 35% of energy should come from protein. And 20 to 35% of energy should come from fats. So if we have these combinations, then we say we are eating a balanced diet that contributes to our physical well-being. So this is the second type of food classification. In the carbohydrates, we also have different categories of foods. We said carbohydrate provide energy for our physical body, and the rate at which it provides that energy varies depending on the food. The type of food, the low glycemic index, right, that provides energy, releases energy from the food slowly over a long period of time, as you can see in the graph here. Whereas high glycemic index foods, it gives instant energy and then disappears. So for us to function in an energetic manner throughout the day, we need energy throughout the day. So our carbohydrates should have a combination of low, moderate, and high glycemic index foods, right? The third classification type we want to talk about is alkaline and acidic foods. Okay, the ideal pH for human body is between 7.35 to 7.45, which is approximately 7.4. Anything above 7 is considered alkaline, and anything below 7, 0 to 7 is considered acidic, and 7 to 14 is considered alkaline, right? So it says human life requires a tightly controlled level of this pH in the blood. So 7.4, it has to be little above 7. So these are the types of foods that provide alkaline or acidic quality. So you can see most of the vegetables and fruits provide alkaline energy, whereas most of the fried foods, coffee and all that stuff, rice, wheat, bread, all of them provide acidic, they are all acidic types. So we need a combination of both acidic and alkaline. Just because it is acidic, it doesn't mean it is bad. Everything in moderation and in a balanced manner keeps our physical body healthy. The issue of higher level of acidic food consumption on our body is it lowers our bone density. If you pour strong acid on our body, it will just eat our body completely. That is how strong acid is, right? So if you have acidity, more acidity in the body, then it lowers bone density. It creates acid burns and chest pain. It can cause kidney stones, contribute to chronic pain, and it can also alter hormone levels of human growth hormones in the blood. So we need to make sure that we take a healthy alternatives so that our body stays alkaline. So we need to really examine the types of food that we eat and their characteristics and ensure that most of the food that we consume are alkaline in nature so that our body health is maintained, right? So right now we have looked at the 3 different classification types, and all these 3 classification types gives different ideas about what we need. The main thing that we need to do is bringing balance into our food consumption, because we have a tendency to eat what we like, not what gives us energy. We are eating mainly because we need energy, but unfortunately our tendency is to eat food based on taste, not based on energy levels. So this is something we need to be mindful of. Okay, so the second thing, or the fourth item on the food is how much calorie intake we need for functioning effectively, right? So an average adult with a sedentary lifestyle, that is somebody who is office going and sitting in the chair most of the time, working on computers or documents, he or she requires about 2000 calories of energy per day to meet their daily energy requirement. This is the average, 2000 calories of energy. But of course, if you do a lot of physical work, then you need more energy, obviously, and 2000 is not enough. And they have recorded that some of the Olympic athletes who train for events, they burn as much as 7000 calories of energy per day. You can see that, they burn 350% more than an average adult with a sedentary lifestyle. So our consumption of food should be in line with our lifestyle, our type of work, how much physical work that we do. So we need to be aware of this. Okay, so, and here is a list of all the foods with their calorie counts. Apple gives 72 calories and banana gives 105. So there is a list of all these food and the calories from various types of food. So when we need to check the food consumption, is it providing us the required calories for our lifestyle? Otherwise, we need to make changes to make sure that we have the necessary calories. Of course, if we are consuming less, of course, we will know by the end of the day or even before the end of the day, we will feel tired and all weak. All that are indications that maybe we are not consuming enough calories required for our lifestyle, right? Okay, so another thing I want to cover is body types. I will just make a brief mention here. Again, it is another big topic. Again, this is based on Ayurveda. Ayurveda talks about three basic body types, and there are also combinations. The three basic types are Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. That means Vata means wind element, and this type of body has a very high metabolic rate. So whatever you eat, it gets digested very fast. When we talk about Pitta, it is based on fire element. It has a medium metabolic rate. And Kapha is based on water element, and it is based on low metabolic rate. The people with Vata type, they will be lean, whereas the people with uh, Pitta type will be medium build, and people with Kapha type will be big build. They are big in size, and also they are also movement wise. Kapha will be very slow, whereas Vata will be very fast. So these are some of the characteristics of the body types, and also the food requirements for these types vary. So we need to be aware of what is our body type and whether the type of food and the amount of food that we consume are suitable for our body type. This is another factor that we need to be aware of. Okay. The next factor I want to highlight about food is importance of chewing food properly. So according to experts, we need to chew food at least on an average 32 times before swallowing for very effective digestion. Because as we know, saliva is secreted in the mouth, and saliva mixes with the food. When you chew the food and mix it with saliva, certain level of digestion takes place in the mouth itself. But most of us, I did a check on myself, how many times I chew after reading this. I chew food mostly around 20 to 25 times in the best of times. And some cases I chew 15 times. Is it enough? Maybe, maybe not. So we need to check. Otherwise, food goes without getting masticated. It goes into the stomach, and it creates a higher load on the digestive system. So it can lead to indigestion and diabetes and all of that stuff. So we need to see whether we chew sufficient number of times so that the digestion process takes place properly, right? So, I mean, there are more details. I don't want to cover all of them here. Okay, if you don't chew food properly, it can lead to bloating, diarrhea, heartburn, acid reflux, cramps, nausea, headaches, skin problems, irritability, malnutrition, indigestion. So indigestion and lack of absorption of nutrients into the body are primary problems related to chewing. Okay, so this is what generally I wanted to cover about food. Now we will go into water. As you know, people can go without food for a few days, few weeks, but they cannot go without water for a few days. Water is really crucial. Now, the question is, how much water is necessary for a good, healthy physical body? Typically, it is about 2 liters of water, and it can be more, but it cannot be less. I know people who take more than 4 liters of water. Is it really necessary? I don't know. But at least 2 liters of water is essential to maintain hydration in the body. Because as you know, our body is made up of 70% of our body is made up of water. If you don't drink sufficient water, what happens? If you dehydrate a muscle by 3%, the muscle loses 10% of its strength and 8% of its speed. So you can see even a small level of dehydration, see how much effect it has on the body functioning. So the effect of dehydration is listed here. You feel thirsty, you have very dry skin, your urine is of a very strong yellow color, feeling dizzy, feeling tired, you have rapid heartbeat, rapid breathing, sunken eyes, a dry mouth, dry lips, sleepiness, irritability, or confusion. So it has a lot of effects on the person's physical and mental well-being. So we need to be clear that we consume sufficient water on a daily basis. Okay, and we also need to be aware that some of the foods have a problem that absorbs the water from the body itself. So if you see the top 7 most dehydrating foods, if you eat salty food, protein, parsley and asparagus, soya sauce, sugary treats, fried foods, alcohol, coffee, tea, soda, all of them absorb the water from your body. So even you don't feel thirsty, but your dehydration level goes down when you consume these foods. So you need to be mindful of that. And if you are consuming this food, make sure that you take enough water before or after so that your hydration level is maintained. Okay. Then the next thing is we also can consuming water-rich foods. So there is a list of foods with the percentage of water content in them. So if you can add the water-rich foods, that also make sure the body stays hydrated. Generally, vegetables and fruits have a very high water content. Right? So we have looked at food and water. Now we go to breathing. In mythology, the towers of strength are people like Bhima and Hanuman. They are called Vayu Putras, that is sons of Vayu, because the breathing provides strength to our body, and our breathing system and our nervous systems are very closely connected. So when we breathe, we need to breathe in a deep and slow manner. Most of us generally have very shallow breathing, and it does affect our health, because health comes from the sugar from the foods and the oxygen from the air we breathe. So the more air we breathe, the more oxygen that we consume, and it is available for distribution to all the cells in the body. Right? So the advantages of breathing deeply is it's a natural painkiller. It improves blood flow, improves immunity, calms down anxiety, helps you sleep better. It increases your energy level. This is a main factor. And breathing also improves digestion. relaxes mind and body. Right? So it is important that we breathe properly. And of course, breathing properly, there are many options available to learn how to breathe properly in a deep and slow manner. So if you practice that until it becomes natural, then your health will definitely improve. Digestive system, I want to only highlight a couple of points here. Digestive system, it breaks down our food and converts it into energy. So it is very important that we keep our digestive system healthy and strong, right? We talk about digestive fire, right? The fire that burns and breaks down the food into energy. So there are two things that I want to highlight. Most of us in modern times, we have a tendency to drink a lot of cold drinks, cold water, ice cold water. This drinking cold drink and ice cold water has a big shock on the body, and it affects our digestive system very strongly, because it affects the digestion, and it affects the digestive fire, and so the digestive efficiency comes down. So it is very important that we don't drink anything very cold, whether it is water or soft drinks or whatever. We should not drink anything very cold. Secondly, we also have to avoid drinking water immediately before and after eating, because it will also dilute the strength of the acids, digestive juices. So that also affects our digestive system. So we need to be mindful of that. And the third thing I want to highlight here is our main function of the body is to keep the body temperature at the correct rate, 37 degrees. If you drink too cold drinks, then the body has to work hard to maintain the body temperature, and it consumes more energy to keep the body temperature high. Because of that, that energy is not available for other things, including for digestion and converting food into nutrients. So we need to be mindful that we avoid drinking very cold drinks. Okay, the next one, very important one, most of us may not be aware of this, is the chronic energy. The whole world is a ball of energy, and this pranic energy is essential for all physical things in the world. And the source of this pranic energy is the first one, the most important one is sunlight. Second one is air. Third one is earth. So exposing ourselves to sunlight in the morning and evening for 20 to 30 minutes in the between 5 and 7 a.m. or 5 and 7 p.m. is very good for body to absorb the pranic energy. It will give our body a lot of energy. Similarly, exposing to open space and good breeze is also a good source of pranic energy, and it also is a good source for stress relief. Walking barefoot on grassy land is also good for absorbing energy through the legs. And taking bath in a swimming pool or a beach, it removes stress. Water is a big source of stress relief. And living near a water body is also helps to release stress. So these are things that we cannot see, but these have very high impact on our health. So try it out and see how much benefit you get out of this pranic energy when you exposed to sunlight, good breeze, walking barefoot, and taking bath in a beach, etc. Okay, so there are a lot of information here. For the issue of time, I'm not going to go through this. But this is something you need to understand and be aware. so that you can make your physical well-being better. And similarly, the next one is exercise. When we say exercise, we talk about simple body movements necessary for keeping health and well-being. 30 to 45 minutes every day. You go for a walk, stretch yourself, and move all parts of your body as much as possible. There is no need to do very strenuous exercise and all that stuff. Yeah, just a simple movement is sufficient. But you have to do it every day so that whatever negative effect you accumulate on a day, that you are able to neutralize it, and the next day the body is still flexible and strong enough to function. Okay, and the last one on the physical well-being is having deep sleep. Do we get deep sleep? If we ask most of the people have problem getting deep sleep because of our lifestyle. And we, as science says, we need minimum 1 to 2 hours of deep sleep every day. Only then the body heals during that deep sleep state, right? If you don't get the deep sleep, if you have a semi-sleep, then the healing does not take place, and causing long-term problem on the health of people. The issue I want to highlight here about sleep, getting deep sleep, is a hormone called melatonin. This melatonin secretion is very essential for getting deep sleep. And this melatonin secretion starts when the environment we are in becomes dark, right? In the past, in the previous generation, the life started with sunrise and the life finished with the sunset. In the night, there was a darkness all around and people were able to sleep well. But in modern times, with all this electricity and all that stuff, we are lit fully 24/7, right? And because of this, the melatonin secretion doesn't happen properly. And because of that, our sleep is affected. So if you want to get deep sleep, you have to create an environment where there is darkness all around you. Then only the melatonin secretion starts and you can sleep well. And added to that, the modern day problem, another problem is cell phone, because the blue light emitted by cell phone screens, it also affects the production of melatonin. So if you want to sleep well, create darkness all around you and switch off your phone or keep your phone in a different room. Then you go to sleep, slowly melatonin secretion will start and you can sleep well. But if your room is lit and if you are using the mobile phone until you go to bed, then after you go to bed, it will take a long time before you can sleep because of the impact of the light on your system. So if you want to get a deep sleep, make sure your environment is dark and you don't have your handphone or your iPad, anything near you. At least half an hour before you want to go to sleep, you switch off all of that, right? So I come to the end of this section. Some of the strategies that we can follow to manage our physical well-being, I want to highlight here. Go to bed early and wake up early. Go to sleep and wake up consistently at the same time. Eat 5 or 6 small meals daily instead of eating 3 big meals. Eat 5 or 6 small meals. Don't avoid your breakfast. Breakfast is essential. Eat a balanced and healthy diet. We have seen 3 different classification types. And minimize simple sugars. Drink at least 2 liters of water every day. And do not drink very cold stuff. Avoid soft drinks, carbonated drinks completely. Take breaks every 90 to 120 minutes during work. Take a 10-15 minutes break and totally relax during that time. Then get some physical activity, as I mentioned, the walking and stretching and all that stuff, right? Then regularly expose yourself to sunlight, cool breeze, water bodies, and all that. That also will improve your physical well-being. Switch off all electronic gadgets and lights at least 30 minutes before you go to sleep. Keep your handphones outside your bedroom. Keep your bedroom dark. If possible, keep your windows open and don't sleep in aircon. Most of us like to sleep in aircon. Aircon is not good for our body because the pranic energy released by aircon is not good. So if possible, you keep your windows open and let natural air circulate in your room. And try to sleep with light clothing so that the body can absorb the pranic energy. And watch TV only for very essential purposes. Don't watch TV too much. So these are some of the suggestions uh, to improve our well-being. And I have an exercise for you. This is just to see, you take stock of your energy level from the morning to till the night. On a scale of 0 to 10, what is your energy level? And when you eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, what happens to your energy level? And in between snack time, if you take snacks, how it affects your energy level? And see, find the link between your energy level and your consumption of food, drinks, and your lifestyle. So this is a typical curve. I just put that in. So if you see, it will give you a very good idea of where you are. And then you can see what kind of lifestyle changes you have to bring about to ensure you have consistent energy level throughout the whole day. So I'll stop here. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Muru. I think it is time to unlearn the things that we thought which were right and learn a new way of living a healthy life, starting today at least. Thank you so much, Brother Muru. Thank you for enlightening us. Now, let us lend our ears and open our hearts to our next very interesting segment of today's training, which is about COVID 19 preparations. For this, we have our dearest brother Jothi with us to conduct this session. But before that, let me briefly introduce brother Jothi. He needs no introduction for sure, but since we have some first timers here, let me do the honor. He is an experienced practitioner of Raja Yoga meditation for 39 years and a respected spiritual teacher. He is an engineer by profession and a successful businessman. He conducts talks and seminars on Raja Yoga meditation all over Malaysia and the Asia Pacific. So, brothers and sisters, without any further ado, let us all welcome Brother Jothi with open arms.
Thank you, Sister Yashini, for the introduction. So we heard Brother Muru. Really, when you listen to all that has been said, do we really follow that kind of a routine? If we did follow, we would have such health that our defense system of the body would be able to cope with whatever challenges that comes. So the present time is like a wake-up call that if we do not take care of our body, then we may not have a body. That's the kind of a challenge of COVID-19. So I'm sure that all of us don't have our body in peak performance at the moment. So we have to do a little bit of firefighting to see what is it that we can do to see that we stay in this body for as long as we can, because time is very short. All of us who have this knowledge know that we are at the fag end of Kali Yuga. And during this short period of time, we have to keep this body working for us until the soul reaches a state of perfection. So we have only 24 hours. And out of that 24 hours, God wants us to dedicate at least 4 to 8 hours for our spiritual development. So which leaves us very little time to really care for the well-being of the body in the way we should. We can't afford 8 hours of sleep. Baba wants us to just suffice with 5, 6 hours of sleep. So we have to see how we can do both, so that we maintain the health of this body and we also have the time to perfect the soul. So perfecting the soul is the primary aim of our life, but keeping a body in a state of good health is extremely necessary also, because it is through this body that we are going to achieve whatever we want to achieve. So as much as we can, if we follow what Brother Muru has said, it will help a great deal in seeing that this body will function well. So at this critical time of COVID illness, it is a virus. It is actually just an influenza virus, but maybe it is a little bit more stronger than our body can cope with. So we have to see that we also, along with all these food things, we also have to have certain food supplements to boost our immune systems. So one main reason why our immune system gets suppressed is the fear that we have for this virus. So Baba has taught us to, so that is why spiritual empowerment is extremely important. The time from 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock is the time when we are empowering ourselves with God's 7 energy and also the wisdom to live a life. So this part of the day dedicated to draw this spiritual energy is extremely important. Because when I draw this 7 energy from Baba, the energy of knowledge, the energy of purity, the energy of peace, the energy of love, the energy of happiness, virtues and powers, the virtues and the 8 powers, all this will energize the physical body as well. When this 7 energy energizes the soul in turn will energize the 7 chakras of this body. And the 7 chakras of the body in turn will energize all the organs. So this COVID pandemic is actually a wake-up call that we need if we want to live in this body and survive through this crisis. We have to give top importance to the hours from 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock, where I am drawing all the 7 energy and all the knowledge and the wisdom to continue the rest of the day in a very powerful way. So when I've done this in this morning, then you'll find that no matter how many challenges that come through the course of the day, I have enough spiritual power to sail through this without any kind of a stress. I have to be absolutely stress-free if I want my immune systems to work. So this pandemic is actually the best thing that can happen in our lives, because only then we will begin to give value to this body. We know that this pandemic can take away our bodies, and so it is like a wake-up call that we should become. We cannot afford to be slack on our spiritual journey, because it is absolutely essential. So God will be, so when I am in remembrance of God, which if I've started the day in remembrance of God, this remembrance of God will take me throughout the whole day. So it is like a canopy of protection over me. I will remain positive in all situations. And so my immune systems of this body will work well throughout the day. No matter what we do, double mask, triple mask, at some point you will take off the mask. And at that point, that virus will come in. So it's only your immune systems that will protect you. So I must remain very, very positive throughout this crisis. So I have to see that it is actually a blessing. I should not see this virus as a curse, but I should see this vaccine as a crisis. I mean, as a blessing. A blessing to be with God, not just for the early morning hours, but to be with God throughout the day. So it is like a canopy of protection is protecting you, an invisible protection. Mask only gives you a physical protection, but remembering God throughout the day gives you an invisible shield of protection, that your positivity will be so powerful that your defense system of this body will work extremely well. So this is the first step for our preparedness for this virus. It is a blessing. So when I am in that state of spirituality, there will be no fear. If I have to leave this body according to drama, at whatever time I have to leave, I will still leave. If not for the virus, through some other causes, I will leave. So therefore, why fear? All of us have a fixed lifespan, and we will live through that. But let us not live in fear. So spirituality offers us that tool to live with courage. And my purpose in life is to draw all the spiritual powers into myself so that I become complete and perfect. So the sooner I become complete and perfect, the sooner I can leave this body. So I have to have this body till then. So I have to also look at some aspects of physical care. So it is said that to boost my immune systems, I will need, apart from all the other nutrients, I will need 3 nutrients in particular: vitamin C, zinc, and vitamin D. Actually, vitamin D, we do not have to take it as a tablet if we paid homage to the sun every morning. If I took a walk in the sun, it will give me ample vitamin D, but somehow we don't seem to have the time for such a divine purpose. So where there is a lack of exposure to sunlight, then it is necessary for me to take some absorbable vitamins. And if you follow this routine of this six days, actually everything is incorporated. If I paid attention to the 6 days, actually in the ancient time, they developed everything for us that we don't have to really go for supplements. But if we maintain that 6 days, it will give you all the nutrients, including zinc, vitamin D, vitamin C, everything is there. But because we don't even seem to have time to eat the right food, so we have to see if somehow our lifestyle is such that we are not able to live up to this expectation of 6 days, then it is necessary for us to have supplements. So each one has to see for themselves whether they are able to live according to this ancient food directions. If not, then I'll have to supplement myself with these things. And sometimes some external help too will be necessary, because sometimes we don't know, once we contract this COVID virus, and if our immune systems are not so good, then we can succumb to that. So I can monitor myself. I have to become a doctor to myself. So whenever there is this feeling, now we know what are the symptoms of COVID. So being knowledgeable of this is extremely important, so that when something is coming to me, even before anyone else knows, I will know. So quickly do a test, and it will give you a result within half an hour. And so we have to become knowledgeable of what we have to do for ourselves and what we have to keep with us, what we have to consume, so that my immune systems is the defense for me. Remembrance and a powerful immune systems will help me to sail through this crisis. But if we took off care of our spiritual well-being and our physical well-being, we could ride through this crisis. And even if COVID comes, it will not kill you, but your body will be able to develop an immune system, antibodies to protect you for the future. So these are some of the things that you have to be aware that always when you come back home, it is very essential that we should take a steaming. If we steam ourselves, we inhale steam at 70 degrees centigrade, it won't cook you, but it will kill the virus. So make sure. So new things we'll have to learn. We can't take life for granted, so we have to have some form of protection. So steaming is very important. There are many ingredients that are actually very good. One of the things that I have been researching, or my sister has been researching, and she feeds me a lot of information on how to keep our immune system high. There is one seed called black seed. It is called Karanjiragam. If we have this in the powder form and mix it with honey and take it for early in the morning and in the night, then this has enough, all the ingredients needed to actually give you a very powerful immune system. So, and it is very cost effective. Even buying all these tablets will cost you quite a bomb if you're going to consume every day. But this Karanjiragam powdered and mixed with and just you only consume 1 teaspoon only, and 1 teaspoon of good quality honey. Mix it, have it in the morning, have it in the evening. It has all the ingredients needed for these essential minerals that will give your body protection. So likewise, there are many of the Indian way of things are actually good. Having avatikira once a week or twice a week is also a good thing. So whatever we see, we have to go back to our ancient culture. It is about time that we went back. So there are many many people are speaking on it, and you can get a lot of information on the internet. Because many things that has been lost to our Indian culture, that we have become so Western that why we are taking all this everything in the toilet tablet form is because we have moved away from our culture. So it is about time we came back to our culture. So, so as time is limited, but I'm sure it is this is purely a wake up for all of us. We can do a lot of soul searching and become aware of all the nutrients that will come in a natural way and start a new way of living. We have to learn how to breathe. We have to learn how to chew. We have to learn many things in this short period of time. Because only now will we value this body that we live in. Because the time period is such that without this body, we cannot even make spiritual endeavor. If we lose this body, by the time we take another new body, it will be 8-9 years before you can understand this knowledge and master this knowledge. So we have to be serious. Om Shanti.
Thank you, Brother Jothi. Thank you for giving us a lot of free but very valuable tips to keep us healthy, especially on how to boost our immune system. Thank you for the eye-opening session, much needed at this moment. Thank you. Now let's go back to our 4D, the famous 4 dimensions. We have completed our first D, physical wellness. Now, the second D, which is about the emotional wellness. No doubt all of us are very excited to hear more on this from Brother Muru. Brother Muru, it's all yours.
Thank you. Let me share my screen. Sorry. Welcome back. So we have gone through the physical well-being, and physical well-being is essential for doing all the work necessary from morning to night, because to do any work we need energy, right? And if we don't have sufficient energy, one thing, we will feel tired and we will fall sick. Not only that, it will also affect us emotionally, because ultimately we use our physical strength, physical skills, similarly mental strength and mental skills, to do something so that we can be emotionally happy, healthy. Our objective for every human being is to be emotionally happy. So this is a very important dimension, and let's dive deep into it, right? One second. So the emotional well-being, the definition of emotional wellness is the ability to successfully handle life's challenges during change and difficult times, and coping effectively with life, and creating satisfying relationships, right? So the ability to successfully handle life stresses and adapt to change and difficult times, coping effectively with life, and creating satisfying relationships. I would say not just enough to cope, we should be able to thrive effectively with life. We should enjoy life We should be bursting with so much of energy and happiness that life. We want to live life for the sake of living. That is how emotional wellness helps us. The components of emotional wellness include optimism, self-esteem, self-acceptance, and self-expression, the ability to share feelings. Okay, we have some more definitions here. We talk about feelings, emotions, moods, and stress. Feelings are what we feel. Emotions are the impact of the feelings on the body. Emotion, energy in motion. And moods are generally is considered a long-term feelings that are persisting over a long period of time, right? That is typically mood. Generally, when we are not happy, we say, oh, I'm not in a good mood. But mood is something considered over a longer period of time, not instantaneous. So from morning to night on a given day, how much is our happiness level or a sadness level will determine the general mood of that person. And stress is the feeling of being overwhelmed, that I cannot cope with what is happening. That is what stress is about. So it is good to know these definitions about feelings, emotions, moods, and stress. Our natural nature is I am always peaceful and joyful. This is my natural nature. Always peaceful and joyful. And when I interact with others, I am always loving and compassionate. So if I experience anything other than these four, that means something is wrong, right? So here, I just want to highlight that we have a conscious mind, subconscious mind, and an intellect. I don't want to go too much into the detail, but we operate based on a core operating program that is in our intellect. And that core operating program is responsible for everything that we do, everything that we feel, right? Now, if I experience a negative emotion, that means it is an indication that something is not right with the situation or with myself or whatever. Any negative emotion is an indicator that something is not right, that the situation requires special attention. I need to dig deeper to understand what is causing this negative emotion. It could be something wrong with my core operating program. So we will look at some details about the core operating program. Okay. So this is a very important statement. In any system, the structure determines the performance. In any system, the structure determines the performance. So in our case, the important structure that is necessary is our psychological structure. That is the foundation on which our whole life is built, right? So what is our psychological structure? There are two possibilities, two options. One is my structure, I feel I am powerful, or I feel I am weak. When I say I feel I am powerful, I feel I am capable, intelligent, competent, strong, resourceful to deal with and overcome any challenge or obstacle I face in my life. Even if I have not done this before, even if I do not know what to do at this very moment, I will find out more and eventually will overcome this challenge. This is what powerful psychological structure means. Weak structure means I do not know, and I feel I am not capable of dealing with this problem myself. This is the structure. So, when our psychological structure is one of power, that means that we have the confidence that we can live with or without anything or anyone at any time or anywhere in any situation. There is no dependency or inadequacy or any form of fear. It means you will deal with the challenges of life from a position of strength all the time. Whatever challenge comes, I deal with it from a position of strength. This is the psychological structure that we need. Without this structure, our life will become a big challenge for ourselves. If we see the condition of the people in the world, if you take a survey available in US, at least 26% of Americans above the age of 18, about 1 in 4 suffer from a diagnosable mental disorder in a given year, and many people have multiple disorders. So you can see 1 in 4 are known to be suffering with life. There may be more cases of unknown cases of people who are suffering with mental emotional disorders. That is the condition of the world today. So you ask yourself, this is a question we can ask ourselves, what is my psychological structure? Do I know? Is it one of being powerful or weak? And do I think I have the capacity and confidence to live with or without anything or anyone, anytime, anywhere, and be able to face all the challenges life throws at me? This is something that needs deep reflection and understanding. Right? The other major issues, other than this psychological structure, these are other major issues: my own identity, my own sense of identity, and the typical roles and responsibilities that I play, whether it is in my personal life or in professional life, and the set of capabilities that I have, whether the capabilities that I have are sufficient for the roles and responsibilities that I am taking on, or the life is asking me to take on, or whether they are not sufficient. Similarly, the identity and roles and responsibilities of others, along with their capabilities, and how we view our relationship with others, especially when we come together and we are, working on something that affects both of us. So then our relationship becomes critical. I may have a friend, we may be working together in the same company, and if we both are competing for the same promotion, then the relationship of friendship of a friend, it gets affected because now there is another dimension added to that friendship. So we need to be mindful of that in every situation when we are interacting with others. And our energy level, our core desires, expectations, motivations, and drivers, our belief system, that is our value system, our understanding of how the world universe operates, and our attitude. These are some of the other major issues that can have an impact on our emotional health that is in our core operating program. So it is important to understand more about our core operating program, but of course, because of time, I cannot go too much into those details. But these are some of the parameters that affect our core operating program, right? Now, emotional intelligence, it requires, this is one of the models created by Daniel Goleman. Here he talks about self-awareness and self-management, social awareness and relationship management. At any given time, I need to be aware of what is happening in myself so that I can manage myself well. That is, I can regulate myself based on what I see and what I want. So this is one dimension of emotional intelligence. Social awareness is being aware of what is happening when interacting with the people, what is happening to myself, what is happening to them, so that I can manage the relationship with other people better. So this is very important. So these are some of the details he has highlighted about self-awareness and self-management and social awareness and relationship management. Okay, so when we talk about emotional well-being, there are many factors that are involved here. The critical ones I have highlighted here. We first of all have to accept ourselves. We have to love ourselves. Self-love is the foundation of emotional well-being, right? Whatever, I am a combination of plus and minus. I have many good things. I may not have some good things. So it's a combination. So whatever is my combination, I still love myself. I respect myself and I value myself. And I have a lot of confidence in my ability to deal with whatever life throws at me. These are the foundations of emotional well-being. And having an optimistic outlook that whatever comes is for our benefit, then whatever problem is there, it will resolve in due course. And having a lot of zeal and enthusiasm for life, and systematically preparing ourselves and building capacity so that I can deal with bigger and bigger things as time goes on. Looking at life as a game instead of taking life too seriously, looking at it as a game and enjoying the ups and downs of life as it comes. Then self-regulation, stress management, being patient, having the faith and trust that things will work out, being cheerful, and acceptance. So these are the some of the key factors that affects our emotional well-being. So we need to go into the depth of these factors and then make sure that we are emotionally well and we prepare ourselves so that we are emotionally well. So when we talk about emotional well-being with the interpersonal relationship, these are some of the factors we need to take care of. We need to have a sense of belonging. We love others. We empathize. We are able to empathize and understand them. We tolerate, adjust, and cooperate as much as possible. Then we are willing to share what we have for mutual benefit. We have a collaborative mindset, non-judgmental attitude, and always work towards maintaining a quality relationship. Then having a support mechanism of mentors and coaches to help us deal with life's challenges. In the past, the social structure had access to mentors and coaches within our family itself, but today, because of this modern lifestyle and nucleus family, we don't have the support mechanism available, so we have to go to mentors and coaches, right? So these are some of the factors of resilience, emotional resilience. Main thing I would like to highlight is competence, the confidence that comes with competence. That is the foundation for resilience. So how can we build emotional resilience systematically? The typical strategies we can use is 3 strategies: temporary poverty, get yourself into uncomfortable situations, forego pleasure. That is, you can test yourself. You can, eat and drink something you don't like. or stop eating and drinking something you like. Don't use your bed, sleep on the floor, make changes to your environment so that it makes it uncomfortable for you, and see whether you are able to, go through with it and be comfortable with it. Try to stay in the company of the people you hate and see if you can accept without being emotionally disturbed. Go to a new place, do something different. All kinds of disturbances you can create in your life to see how well you can cope with it. So that in case any major problems, challenges come, then you have sufficient strength to be able to overcome it. Right? And this is one of the good strategies I would strongly recommend is we need to learn to enjoy what we have on a daily basis. Very simple things. It doesn't have to be big things, even simple things, even having a coffee or a meal. You can focus, be mindful, and enjoy that food and drink. If you do this for small things in a mindful manner, that itself will build up your emotional well-being. But most of us don't do that. Whatever we have, you say, okay, yeah, I already have it. I don't bother about it anymore. I don't value it anymore. I'm always, focusing on getting something bigger, grander to come in our lives. What is important is you need to get things, and you also need to enjoy what you get. So, whatever you have today, even simple things, learn to enjoy it, appreciate it, then you will feel very happy. And of course, you have to work towards getting something bigger, no doubt. But at the same time, enjoy what you have. Simple things. Then you will become a happier person. Okay, then you can do Om chanting for 108 times every day. Om chanting helps to release all emotional blockages within your body. Deep and slow breathing helps. Doing exercises and building up physical strength helps. As I mentioned before, when we feel physically weak, we also feel emotionally disturbed. Then mentally, we also need to understand that what is in my control and what is not. Then if I have a clear idea of what is in my control and what is not, then I can accept whatever happens that is not in my control and work on what is in my control appropriately. So if you see what is really in my control, the only thing that is in my control is my response to what happens. My attitude, my thoughts, my feelings, my words, actions, these are all in my control. What is happening to me, what is going to happen to me, I don't know. It is not totally under my control. Anything can happen. But we work on what is totally under our control in a proper way so that we can be emotionally healthy. Okay, so these are some of the signs of emotional suffering: agitation, withdrawal, decline in personal care, hopelessness, and personality change, and all that stuff. Okay, another thing I want to highlight is we need to be aware that our physical body is created only to experience positive emotions. If you experience prolonged negative emotion, it will lead to disease in the body. Earlier, Brother Jothi was mentioning about the spiritual energies, the seven qualities. These seven qualities are connected to various organs and systems in our body. So if we have these seven qualities in abundance, our body also works well. So this is something based on our spiritual effort, we can help to make sure these systems and organs work well so that it adds to our emotional happiness. So here there is a list of organ-wise problem. Every problem that we have in the body is connected to some emotion, negative emotion. right? These are some of the problems here. Similarly, all the diseases also have a connection to our negative emotion. So these are some of the details, but due to lack of time, I'm not going to go into these details. But there is a connection between our diseases and our emotional experience. Okay, so strategies for emotional recovery is watching a movie, listening to a music, exercise, spending time in solitude, in nature, getting moral support, clarity on what's happening, writing journals, sleeping, sometimes even eating helps, breathing slowly and deeply, praying, meditation, and also having the mindset that every challenge is a stepping stone for learning and growth. If you have that mindset, then you will welcome all the challenges with open arms happily, instead of worrying about, oh, one more problem has come in my life. So this is a mindset that is very good to have. And if you have a psychological structure of being powerful, this will be your natural state. Okay. So as I mentioned earlier, an emotionally resilient person, he will be able to live with hundreds of problems without losing their peace and happiness, and also be able to sleep well. So this is another important factor. And having patience is another important factor. We all have a tendency to solve any problem that comes up immediately. We want to solve it immediately or on the same day. They generally, people cannot live with problems. That is why you need to develop that ability to deal with hundreds of problems, live with them. Okay, whatever I can solve today, I will solve. If I cannot solve today, I will solve it tomorrow. So if you have that attitude, then it will help you. You can, take action to improve the situation by 1% every day or every week. You don't have to solve everything immediately. That mindset is essential for emotional well-being. Okay, then this is a typical, it's a survey conducted by WHO that the countries with the highest and lowest level of depression, okay, the highest is 6.3% of the population in Ukraine, and the United States 5.9%. The lowest is Nepal, Laos, and all those countries, including Philippines, which has 3.3% of people who are depressed, which is one of the lowest. Yeah. Okay, so we need to be mindful that any changes we bring about in terms of habit changes for physical well-being or emotional well-being, it can only happen when we understand why we have to change and the benefit associated with it. Secondly, the new habits have to be aligned with the identity of the self. If there is no alignment, there is no change in habits. So this is something we need to be aware of. So I will stop here, and then maybe we will move to the question answer session. Sister Yashini.
Thank you, Brother Muru. That was very, very helpful. Hopefully, all of us will put into practice of what we heard just now. Now, the very much anticipated segment of all, the question and answer segment. I think because of time limitation, we can only take up to 2 questions at this segment. So without any further delay, let's jump into the very first question from the floor. Brother Muru, the question goes like this.
Yeah.
How much time do I need to spend every day to build up my physical well-being?
Yeah, typically 30 minutes to 60 minutes. Typically 45 minutes should be sufficient.
Okay.
Yeah. If you do a lot of exercises, you can live long. but you want to live. You don't want to keep exercising to live long, right? So 45 minutes is a good time.
Okay, 45 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
So the second question, when I get emotionally disturbed, I
Yeah.
do or say things that cause more damage, which I later come to regret. How can I avoid that?
Yeah, it requires a certain level of self-regulation and control. So generally, one strategy you can follow is when you are really disturbed, just shut your mouth. Don't say anything. Just keep quiet for a few minutes. Take a deep breath, 10 deep breaths or something. And after that, go think through the issue and then go back to the concerned person and talk to him or her. So don't react, you respond. So this is one strategy that would be effective.
Okay, Brother Muru, that was quite fast. Actually, I think we can take one more question, maybe the last one. We are currently eating food based on tradition or past practices and availability. How do I know whether the food I am eating is balanced or not?
Yeah, the main thing is awareness and certain level of effort. You cannot say just because my grandparents ate that, I am going to eat that, and I don't care what is going to happen to my health. If you want to really have good health, you have to put in some effort to understand what you are putting into your mouth and how it is impacting your health. If you don't want to do that, then even God cannot save you.
Okay, thank you so much, Brother Muru.
Yeah,
Okay,
thank
then
you.
the training has almost come to an end now, but of course, we are yet to wrap up completely as we still have part two to come. The date will be announced anytime soon, so keep on checking your WhatsApp messages. Last but not least, thank you all for joining us, regardless of your busy schedule and making this training a success. I hope all of you enjoyed, benefited, and gained some new experiences from today's training program. And not to forget our homework given by Brother Muru. Hopefully, you all can share in the part two of our training program on how you practiced and made them into a memorable life experience. Hence, there is definitely a double, triple, multiple benefit in putting into practice what we have heard today. To watch the recorded version of this program, you can visit Brahma Kumari's Johor YouTube page. Please show your love and support by liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing to our channel for more interesting programs. So we will end our session for tonight with a song. So sit back and relax. Before that, let me thank our amazing speakers of today's wonderful training program, Brother Jothi and Brother Murugavil. We can't thank you enough. Thank you for guiding us. Today's training is definitely a solid proof to show how beneficial the drama can be, especially for Brahmins. This pandemic has definitely brought us all closer and helped us to explore on a new journey every single time for our betterment. Thank you once again, everyone. Hope to see you soon in our next training program. For now, it's not goodbye, but see you later. Om Shanti.
Shanti, Shanti.
आँखों के सामने हो ना हो मेरे दिल की बात Shanti.